I do gotta do the posting. All right, hold on. Let me get this posted. All right. Great, great video, right?
Yeah.
Just looking at us. We need to learn sign language like DK.
Yeah. That would definitely help us out.
So while we're waiting and I post this, I will tell the people that are actually watching or watch the video. So I'm playing Doug in the comic book. James, I'll tell you this story. I'm playing Doug in comic book, and my roster's kind of like with the bye weeks and all that. I'm like, okay, who am I going to start? What am I going to do? So I text Doug and I said, hey man, with Jamar Chase having Browning and Tank Dell being injured, I think it's going to be easier for you because I'm going to start Brevin Jordan and I'm going to start DK Metcalf instead of Tank Dell or Jamar Chase.
Oh
And
gosh.
what happens? Yeah, Thursday
Oh
night happened.
boy. That's funny. I think I'm winning in that league. I think am I putting up another
All right,
good week in that one?
here we go. Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It is me, it's Tyler. Doug is taking the night off, and hopefully he enjoys his night off. I'm just here with James. We're going to go back and forth to this awesome. What James said it's awesome. I thought it was a little boring, but we will see. It shouldn't take too long due to the 6 teams on bye. But how are you, James? How are you
I'm
this
doing
week?
great. Yeah. Puka
You
Nakua is still alive, and I'm here for it.
every time he gets tackled, I feel like he's hurt.
I winced a little bit. I really did. Because he was cramping up in that game after the big 70-yard splash, and then I'm like, okay, Puka, this is your game. I'm playing against them. I have him on my teams. It was very confusing, but I'm glad that he's healthy, that he came back, and man, those Eagles. Ooh, I can't wait to get into it. Let's go.
All right, and before we get into it, I'd like you guys to who's ever watching or even listening on a podcast form, go to our YouTube and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, even the little bell to let you know that we are here. We're usually here on Sunday nights, but yeah, it's always nice. And also go to iTunes, leave a review. We haven't had one since I think May, since our Miller, the Kendre Miller comment. Yeah, that was a 1 star because we weren't too keen on Kendra Miller,
Yeah,
and
see how that
apparently,
turned out.
we didn't give too big of an explanation on why. So we'd like to get some more positive reviews, but yeah, they're always good to read and siphon through a little bit through the off season, which we are coming up close. And once again, we are brought to you by Underdog. Use code DHH to match your deposit of $100. Just go prop bets. James, how are your prop bets today?
Um, I messed up a little bit. Last week I had a good one. I hit four anytime touchdowns. This week I missed my 6-leg parlay with Sam Howell not getting 250 passing yards, which was very upsetting. I could have won a lot of money, but instead I'm in a little bit of a hole today.
It's all right. It happens. And you know what? It's a good thing you use code DHH because you got your free $100 deposit. So that's
Oh
always a
yeah, for
positive.
sure. So it doesn't really matter.
You're playing with house money.
Free money.
All right. And before we get into the injuries, I do want to give a thanks to Trophy Smack, the best trophy game in this game. So go to trophysmack.com, use code DHHRING, get yourself a free championship ring when you purchase a trophy. It is the perfect time to go get yourself one of those trophies because, hey, playoffs are coming next week, and then it's playoffs. So get it ordered. You know what's best? Week 1 of playoffs, you throw that thing on. You get a little YouTube going, post it to your league, and then you just show the trophy. Be like, we are playing for this. What better?
Yep.
Like, what better than to get your league going and to upgrade your league than going to Trophy Smack? Use code DHHRING to get that free trophy today. All right, James, let's get into these injuries. There's some decent ones.
Yeah, I could talk about the first couple
First,
ones.
I was gonna say
Um,
first. I do want. Let's go over the big one. Tank Dell.
yeah,
He
that
he's
one's
got
big. Out for the
fractured
season,
fibula.
fractured fibula, and we just Googled it pre-show
We
that it
did.
is
We
the
Googled.
smaller bone in your leg.
We
Um,
WebMD'd, so
yeah,
it's
we
all
WebMD'd
accurate.
it, so it's accurate, and WebMD confirmed that it's a 6-week recovery time. So let's see, it's all about the swelling apparently, but we shouldn't see Tank Dell for the rest of the season. It's sad, especially for the ones that are going into the playoffs. It hurts, and hopefully he wasn't your absolute ride or die getting you there,
He
but
was becoming it though,
he definitely
which
was.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah, we're gonna miss Tank Dell. Nico Collins to the ceiling. I mean, to the moon, really.
A little
Eh,
further than that, I would say too.
yeah, probably to Mars at this point. Um, and he's going to catch that end of season relevant. What's the end of season relevance term that I'm looking for here?
um, Title winners.
Yeah, title winners. It's going to be that, I guess. Yeah, you're going to remember him. He's going to be a higher. His value is just going to be skyrocketing for the rest of the
Yes.
offseason as well.
Yes, and hopefully, it's unfortunate for the injury, but hey, whoever does not have Tank Dell in Dynasty, it is an injury buy low window. So if somebody lost them and your trade window is open and somebody needs some points for the playoffs, it's not a bad idea to go see what you can go purchase Tank Dell for. It's not a bad idea. It's always a good thing. And if you don't have many like I do, I don't have many shares of Tank Dell. So it's always nice to go throw some feelers here and there. All right, James, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just name off all the injuries, and then you give me your opinions on them. So we got Amari Cooper concussion,
All right.
Derek,
So, oh,
Derek. Oh, I was just going to go through them.
okay.
Derek Henry concussion. Kenny Pickett re-aggravated the ankle injury, and apparently it is much worse. He'll be
Mhm.
out for 2 to 3 weeks, I
Yep.
think. Ramondre, X-rays are negative on the ankle. He will have an MRI to see how bad it is on Monday. Derek Carr, shoulder, head, and back, knees,
Knees and
toes,
toes. Yeah.
hips. Derek Carr, like we always say, it's a good thing he's got that paint on mascara because if not, it'd be hitting his eyes because, man, that guy's injured so much this year. And he, now that Kyler Murray isn't staying on the ground, he's actually getting back up. I think Derek Carr's like, hey, I got this. I'll take control of the whiny football player that stays on the ground forever. But Derek Carr, let's just keep Jameson. Right? I think we're all agreed on that.
I think the Jameson Taysom Hill combo is something to be reckoned with. Like the defense didn't know which and when he was going to run. It's totally worth it. It helps out Olave with the long bombs from Winston. You just can't play the quarterback other than Taysom Hill. I'm not going to throw my chips in on Jameis Winston, but especially with the way Taysom Hill played today. Um, that's pretty much it for the Saints. Olave left the game, came back in the game,
Yeah,
was
he's been
fine.
off and on a little bit this year.
Yeah. To get to the concussions real fast, Amari Cooper, as soon as he left, we saw uh oldest rookie in the world, Joe Flacco, start looking for Cedric Tillman a little bit more. We've mentioned him on the show a couple times here. Elijah Moore isn't the guy in that offense that you want. It's going to be a perimeter receiver. They want to take shots with their bigger guys down the field, and I think it's going to continue. If you can get Cedric Tillman now, go out and still try to snag him. He didn't have a great game, but he was heavily targeted, especially when Cooper went down. Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears time.
He looked
Uh,
good.
yeah, he did look good. He's been looking good all season. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I think it's a one and done week. Maybe Derrick Henry sits out your week 14 matchup, but they have a great schedule going down the rip. So if you want to sell, maybe you could sell Derrick Henry. Maybe not. I don't know. Is it a small buying window for Henry going into the
No,
playoffs?
I mean, a 29-year-old running back, I'm staying away. And honestly, if you could probably get a first for if you can get a first for Tajay Spears, I think I'd be out there too.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Even though he looked good, it's a running back, and you got a good return on investment there.
All
And
right.
one of our other injuries, Brian Robinson, hamstring. He's dealt with this all season, it feels like. And Antonio Gibson finally played decently.
He
We'll get
played
in.
decently, but he wasn't very good between the tackles. That's where he struggles all the time. But it's going to be a pass and go. We did see um, what's his name come in this game for
Chris
Sam Howell.
Rodriguez,
Chris Rodriguez came in the game. Yes.
the
Who,
slowest running back known to man.
like it wasn't a good thing. He only had 7 for 29. It really wasn't good.
There's a lot of people that like him, but he is if you need 5 yards, he'll get you 5 yards. If you need 10 yards, he'll get you 5 yards.
The other side, the other side of the ball was a lot more exciting in this one. I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit here.
Oh, 100%. All right, let's get right into these games, as exciting as they are. We will start with the Chargers and the Patriots, six
Oh
to
God.
nothing. What a barn burner, James. What do you want to say about this? Like,
Next,
if okay,
no, I'll
honestly,
do the one thing: the Ramondre Stevenson ankle injury. It's never good when the X-ray is negative. That means that he's experiencing pain, most likely a ligament.
ligament, yeah,
So that's something cringeworthy that Zeke is going to get possibly a full workload. This was the Bailey Zappi game that didn't really materialize into anything. And nor did I really want to pay attention to it on the screen. It was disgusting. The Chargers were disgusting.
yeah.
Eckler losing value game by game.
He looks slow. He looks like he's lost juice. I think the lower body injuries that he's had later on in his
Starting to
career
take a
are
toll.
starting to take a toll.
Yep.
And I mean, the one positive you can take out of the Chargers is Quentin Johnson, catching 5 of 7 targets for 52 yards. He was wide open on a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I think this was a confidence booster for him, if anything. And the Patriots are like, we're taking Keenan Allen out. You can throw it to Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
they let
That
him
would have
do
been
that.
my play as well.
So I mean, Quentin Johnson is worth a mid-second right now, I'd say, and I'm still probably staying out on that price, which is unfortunate because he's tied to one of the better quarterbacks. That whole offense and team needs to just wipe and have a clean slate because this whole regime ain't it. You're ruining Herbert. That's my issue.
Who's it? Brandon Staley, right?
Yes,
Yeah. He needs
the
to go.
defensive genius.
Yeah, he needs to go.
Yeah, well, I mean that defense is god awful for a guy that was like, oh, this guy's the next defensive genius. He's it.
Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the next game. Cardinals versus Steelers. This one had a bunch of rain delays.
The longest game in NFL history. I think it ended after the 425 games.
Yeah. So my one take is Kyler is here to stay. He's going to play his contract out. I know that's people are like, well, maybe they could take Drake May. Patriots lost. Cardinals won. The Patriots now have an earlier pick than the Cardinals, I think. I think they have 2 and Cardinals are 3. And I don't think it matters because I really hope Marvin Harrison needs to go to the Cardinals. He needs to play with Kyler because if so, Kyler is going to, like, people are like, oh, no, not the Cardinals. Kyler will hyper target him and McBride. He'll use Hollywood Brown as a deep ball guy. That's a perfect offense. That's what you need. And then have James Conner for 2 more years just as this bowling ball because he hasn't lost a step. He looked great. This offense, I'm telling you guys, I know we've bashed Kyler in the past, but I am all aboard Kyler for the end of this year and 2024 and beyond because this offense will look different.
Real fast, I want to mention first and foremost, you said Trey McBride, and he had himself a day.
He looked dominant. Like, he looked like an alpha out there.
Yes, and way more so than my friend Marquise Hoboken Brown.
He got hurt.
Yeah, he was hurt off the rip. Like,
Yeah.
he was limited in practice all week long. And my fear with him, man, it's almost like he's turning into like DJ Shark. Like, and that's going to be it. Like a couple targets a game. He's not really beating an outside perimeter. If they do get Marvin Harrison in this offense, Marquise Brown is like, oh, he's going to fall off some rosters.
Yeah, he'll still have some relevance. And I think the issue with Marquise Brown is that he is the one on a team, and he can't take that one coverage. I think when we saw him in Baltimore when he was kind of the 1B-ish, I think he thrived there. But when he left and came to Arizona, there was still Hopkins. And I think when he had Hopkins, it kind of helped take the coverage off. So for me, having Harrison there, I think will push Brown as a buy. If I have a late second, which I think it would be his value if Harrison's there, that is the price I'm willing to give up. But yeah, this Cardinals team, even Michael Carter, I think I would try to throw some feelers out there for, like a 4th-round pick for Michael Carter.
So Kenny Pickett's supposed to miss extended time. That's what the news line is now with this ankle injury. What are we doing with the receivers, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, now that Trubisky's back at the helm?
Gross.
Gross, right?
I don't know. Like it's tough for me because like Pickens is having a good week. I think for me, Pat Fryermuth, he had a massive week last week, and then he kind of falls off a little bit. He's still kind of a hold/buy for me right now. He dropped in value from last week.
Yeah,
because it's dynasty and everything's up and down. So I think this whole offense is kind of a hold. I still really like Najee. He's running hard, but for me, when Warren touches the ball, the offensive line almost blocks more for him. And then when it's Najee, they're kind of expecting him just go right to the expected hole, despite anything being blocked or not.
Real fast. Now that we should have mentioned at the top of the show that Zach Ertz was mutually left the Arizona Cardinals this week, opening up the door for Trey McBride. Now
it's McBride over Fryermuth.
We had a plethora of dynasty tight ends come into the league this year, and I just want to test the waters real fast with second-year Trey McBride real fast. Sam Laporta or Trey McBride?
I'm going Laporta's top 3 dynasty tight end.
Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'd go McBride based off value, and you could get McBride plus for Kincaid.
That's what I was alluding to. And
I think Hockenson, Laporta are in the top 3.
Is Kelsey still there? Yeah.
No. Kelsey's had
Kelsey and Andrews era over.
I'd say it's Hockenson, Laporta, maybe even McBride top 3.
Possibly. We're gonna have to look into it a little bit more. I want to keep the show going, but yeah, it's actually futuristic the way we're looking at it, because we know McBride is locked in there. Like, I would put McBride way over Fryermuth at this point. You have
100%.
to put him over Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is in the basement now.
But
Sam Laporta is probably one of those rookies. I'd have McBride over Dalton Kincaid personally.
I mentioned the Doug and about Kyle Pitts, and I said he's out of my top 7 for tight ends. Which, hey, everyone, you're talking
buying
to me.
Window.
You're talking to me. Like, this is me we're talking about, and even though we'll get to Pitts, but yeah.
Eventually, Arthur Smith won't be calling plays there. Eventually,
they're gonna win the division this year, which is gross.
We go 13-8 against the Jets.
Let's go to a division game. The Colts versus Titans. Colts win 31-28. What do you got on this game?
Dude. This was a game back and forth. Zach Moss, I thought he was going to do a lot more like he did the first time he played.
He looked like 2019
Zach
Zach Moss.
What did you do when you, like, last week and the week before, like, you took some time off? You lost your rhythm or something back there?
I don't know. He did not look like himself.
No, I think it was a Tennessee defense that actually showed up this time, and they knew what they were expecting. They were able to kind of corner in Gardner Minshew a little bit in this one. But Derrick Henry's your man. Pittman. All right. So I had a note that I wrote for today. Pittman. Is he your alpha? Is he the alpha moving forward in this
alpha targeted? I mean, he is going ham on targets, and I don't know if it's a Minshew thing. When Richardson comes back, he's definitely going to run the ball more. So
that's the question mark.
Less passing.
Yeah.
But he's like, right now, I think his value's peaked. Can we agree on that? At the end of the season, Pittman's going to be a top 9 receiver in Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, 10. He's a top 12 Dynasty receiver right now in my book.
Yeah, and Josh Downs will start coming up a little bit, and
I think Josh Downs. You could try to acquire Josh Downs.
Yeah, Alex
off the
Pierce,
bad one.
I've always been a fan of Alex Pierce, but
Sneaky Alex Pierce.
like he has run so much this season and has no production, and finally today he goes 3 for 100. He had a big play.
Yep.
It's fun to see that. They have a tight end 3 for 72 come in. Hey, a guy I've always liked, Tyler Goodson from Iowa, pass catching back. I thought the Packers should have kept him and had him replace Aaron Jones because they're very similar style players.
Mm.
Evan Hall is another guy that if you can
He's
go
coming
throw
back.
if you can go throw some feelers out, Evan Hall next year, yeah.
Is he going to be Zach Moss next year?
I would think so. I mean, they invested in him. He was starting week 1 and got hurt. So, yeah, I still really like him. Going to the other side, Tennessee, can we agree Will Levis might not be the truth?
Yeah, most definitely. In watching this game, I had the thought of watching Minshew and Levis. It was like watching two backup quarterbacks play each other.
Yeah.
And that's what I was. And the greatest clip from the game was Ryan Tannehill fielding long snaps for field goal kicks on the sideline. It was great. I'm like, oh, my poor man Ryan.
Yeah, the Titans. I still think Levis gets another year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 3rd round draft capital. He sticks around. Second. I'm sorry, way too high draft capital.
33.
I definitely I think he beat out Malik Willis and expect big changes to this offense. I think it might be Derrick Henry's last season.
Even expect there's rumors Vrabel might be out too, and he might go to New England, which would be interesting.
And replace the old guy.
Yep. And then there's rumors that the two that played each other, Bill and the Chargers, that matchup, he just got a glimpse of the team he's going to be taking over.
Maybe Vrabel should go to LA Chargers.
They need offensive mind. Like if they had defensive mind coach, they need an offensive mind coach. And hey, we'll get to the Panthers, but apparently this wasn't in the news section, but they are going all in on Ben Johnson. Like last year, they gave him an offer.
Mm-hmm.
He declined. Apparently, they are going to offer him almost anything he wants to come to Carolina. Like, this is legit.
It's really going to happen.
If he wants to. I mean, he's going to have his pick of any team. Ben Johnson, he's going to be like, okay, yep. And he admitted he was not ready to be a coach last year. That's half the reason why he didn't go in.
Good for him. At least he could be honest about it.
Yeah, and he said he's definitely ready this year. So, yeah, I think he's one of those guys that wherever team he's going to, you want part of the offense. And, yeah, like I said, I want the Chargers to get him as a coach, draft Brock Bowers, and just look what he's doing with Laporta. Imagine Brock Bowers with Herbert. Whew.
Yeah,
that would be.
That's not a bad mix. And speaking of Carolina, 2 weeks in a row now that Mingo goes all over Thielen in targets, 10 targets for Mingo. I'm keeping my eye on him. And then Chuba Hubbard, 25 for 104 and 2, up against the Tampa Bay run defense. You don't see all that.
Yeah, Centimeter Sanders definitely has been struggling.
Centimeter Sanders. He's not even a colonel anymore. He's like a private.
He's not a mile. He's not a mile. He's a centimeter. Yeah, this whole team is rough to say the least. Once again, Bryce Young struggling. He had a fumble, an interception. There was a play where he threw the ball and a player went for his knees, and I was like, oh, and he stepped back just the right amount to where he avoided a major injury. But
I'm looking forward to the offseason for Bryce Young because it's definitely a buying window.
Carolina in general, because this is a franchise that you kind of like seeing in the mix. I mean, they've had great players. You have Luke Kuechly. You've had Kerry Collins, of course.
It's MC.
Yeah, Stephen Davis, can't leave him out. Like, this is a fun, and I love their jerseys. I've always liked the jerseys and colors. So, and going to Tampa Bay on the other side, Mayfield.
Mike Evans, congratulations.
Mike Evans.
10th season for 1,000 plus yards.
So in 2016, my old co-host, Chris Whitman, and I, we bumped heads because he was a huge Odell Beckham fan, and I was all about Mike Evans.
Hmm.
And we kept fighting about who was the best player out of that group. I have to say I think I won, but
Um, yeah, in hindsight, yes, you did.
Beckham is definitely injuries, but Mike Evans has been injured. It feels like every game.
It wasn't just injuries for Beckham; it was
That
attitude
is
as well.
true. And the field goal post, having a relationship with that, and all that.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
there's one player I want to talk about, and he got one touchdown rushing. Chris
Rashad White.
Godwin. Chris Godwin.
Oh yeah, he's deteriorating fast.
I don't get it.
It just doesn't work. He doesn't work in this offense. It does not work. The slot receiver is almost irrelevant in this offense.
He is 27 years old. I think he has one more year in his contract. I would not be shocked if he gets traded. He has 600 yards right now.
I hope Godwin gets traded and he'll have a resurgence in his career like Landry did when he moved from the Dolphins to the Browns.
Yeah.
And that's when you trade him.
I can agree with that. I mean, let's look at his stats last year. I mean, he had over 1,000 yards last year, over 1,000 yards in 2021. It's definitely been his worst season since his rookie year.
It's definitely a comfortability level with Baker Mayfield. I think Baker wants to stretch the field, and when he throws, he doesn't want to throw dink and dunk passes. He's going to throw it and try to stretch the field, especially when he has a Mike Evans to throw it to. Yes, it could change next year. We'll see what happens in the offseason with Mike Evans. But one of these guys isn't going to be there next year. So Trey Palmer, sign me up.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's go to the next game, and that is Broncos versus Texans. Broncos lose 17-22. Texans win.
It was a close one.
The Tank Dell injury. What I really want to go over is Courtland Sutton, the efficiency in touchdowns.
Okay.
If you can sell him, you should go ahead. You should go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you can.
He can't do this all the time. 7 targets, 2 catches, 77 yards, and 1 touchdown.
And the 2 grabs that he had were like mind blowing. Like at the back of the end zone, just perfect spot. Russ put it in the perfect spot for him, and he fell into the corner of the end zone and out of the. Oh man, it was perfect. And the other one he caught, it was like for like 37 yards or something like that, and he almost did a cartwheel coming out of it. Like these miraculous receptions for Courtland Sutton, like you said, they're not going to last, but they're exciting to see. This game was exciting to watch, and I'm trying to sell him for in Dynasty anyway. I don't really have any shares anymore.
Marvin Mims is definitely a buy here, but if you listen to anything Cecil Lammey has to say about the team next year, Judy or Sutton will be gone.
I think both of them might be gone.
And Mims will definitely be the beneficiary of that. And he's a guy that's kind of hidden, and people are like, well, what's wrong? And it's because Sean Payton does not like rookies as much. He's one of those old heads that just likes I mean, Brandon Cooks back in his era played well, and Alvin Kamara had a heck of a season, but you really have to earn it. And it feels like Mims might be in the doghouse a tad. We will have to see. And
yeah, like imagine Chris Godwin on Denver.
In Denver, that'd be good. Now going to over the other side, Brevin Jordan with Dalton Schultz out gets 3 for 64 on 4 targets, but Nico Collins 9 for 191.
Oh my gosh. Targets. I thought he was going to break 200 yards. It was ridiculous.
He is one of those guys that you should buy high because I don't think his peak value has hit.
He's not. He has to be inside the top 20 dynasty wide receivers at this point.
Yes, but even then, because he is a top 12 receiver.
He's the alpha in this offense.
And him and Tank work perfect together.
Oh yeah, and John Mechie, he dropped a big play to this one. Like there was a first down play, and he got worked.
So Dameon Pierce, I mean, this is just congratulations. You got a touchdown. If you started him, congratulations.
If you had to,
you have cojones. So
Singletary back down to earth, and that one's important.
Singletary still ran better than him. So I think it could just be like, oh, this is our guy.
It's game script. They were going back and forth in this one quite a bit.
All right, let's go to Detroit versus New Orleans. This was another fun one to watch. Jahmyr Gibbs, explosive as ever, but he's kind of back down to his low touch rate. And also Amon-Ra, only 6 targets. What happened? Oh yeah, that's right. Sam Laporta happen.
Yeah.
They worked the middle of the field. They saw that Tyrann Mathieu is starting to age out a little bit, and they attacked the middle of the field with Laporta, and that's where Goff was. Uh, my biggest thing was they have been talking a lot of positive things about Jameson Williams after we kind of wrote him off. So maybe send out some feelers. He had a good rushing touchdown and showed that speed off, but I don't think his value has definitely peaked. And
Oh, no, for sure. But it is on the upswing. This is 2 weeks in a
yeah,
row that they're actually utilizing him, um, other than in the passing game. So I'm liking the fact that he is getting carries. They're utilizing his speed. He's going to be like that trick play kind of guy that we see. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, I'm definitely not worried about it. Marshawn Lattimore out there for New Orleans. Their defense really slowed things down for Detroit. That's and obviously the running game, 18 carries for Montgomery, 55 yards and a tutty. It was just tough all around for the run game in this one. But like you said, heavily targeted. Sam Laporta came in the clutch, caught all 9 of his targets, one of them to the house. On the other side of the ball, we mentioned Derek Carr being out. Winston came in, did a little bit of work, but man,
the
Alvin
Saints
Kamara.
the Saints
Whew,
are an ugly team. They
yeah,
they
I
play
agree.
ugly. And Chris Olave, it feels like every time he gets a play, it's usually a broken play by the defense. This team is just not fun to watch. The
It's
Saints,
tough.
they weren't last year. They're not this year. They thought the change with Derek Carr would happen, but he is just a gothic Andy Dalton. So you're getting the same of what you got last year. Jameis,
He's
as
not
much
much
as
better.
no, he's
Winston's
not.
not much
He's
better.
not.
Let's put it in the context real
He's
back for the people
luckier.
that are
He's
listening.
luckier. Jameis,
Yes, he's
he had a
so much.
ball. He
Yes,
had a
this is
ball
the
that should have been picked off.
and it
The
was a 34-yard reception
it
to
was a
Chris
third.
Olave.
Yes, Jameis is the luckiest quarterback I've ever seen play.
But yeah,
And
it's going to be tough there in New Orleans going forward.
yes, so next game, the Falcons and the Jets. Do we really need to?
No, we don't. We don't.
The Jets
The
are going to have a
news
quarterback
was
change.
that yeah, we had a quarterback change to Trevor Simeon, and it was a worse situation when
Yep,
Trevor Simeon came in. So
the Jets are screwed. That's all I know. Um, Going to over to the running game, Brees Hall, a very bad rushing game.
very bad game.
He's getting targets and he's getting saved by all these targets, but even then, it's not good.
They're not moving. They can't move the football.
They
They
can't.
can't move the football. Nope.
And this it's
And it stinks for
super.
Garrett Wilson owners
Who had some
that are going
crazy
into the
catches?
playoffs. Yeah. It's just not going to work out there until they get a quarterback. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers comes back before your fantasy championships.
Yeah, Bijan 18 for 53. This is a tough defense. We thought that we had to run against them, but the Jets knew exactly what Arthur Smith was going to do.
I just don't get it. Like Cordarrelle Patterson, why does he get 5 carries
Because it's Cordell
seriously
Patterson. If you have Cordell Patterson on your team,
for
you're
11
not,
yards and a
you're
fumble?
not. Kyle Pitts, he had 8 targets coming. He showed up a little bit, 4 for 51. Bijan 3 for 26, and Drake London. If you started him, good on you. But Sauce was covering, and this is the thing: tall, lanky corners are
Yeah.
meant to cover tall, lanky receivers. So when they're matched up 1-on-1, it is a more difficult matchup for the receiver, especially if you got Sauce on you. So like T Higgins, if he's matched up against Sauce, I ain't starting T.
Hmm.
But Jamar Chase, I'll start Chase because they're different. They're different receivers. Chase can get a little more slippery with Sauce. Drake,
Slippery sauce.
slippery sauce, and Drake, he ain't doing
Durr.
that. So yeah, Drake, better days are ahead. But this Atlanta team, once again, 13-8. Being an Atlanta fan, they're winning.
It's like a
But I
baseball
am
score.
not a fan of how they win. It's not.
I wouldn't be either. It's not great for fantasy. They're going to wind up winning the division and then losing in the first round.
So having Mike Vick as a quarterback in my past was fun to watch, but it was hard because you knew the offense ran with Mike Vick. This offense it feels similar, but you don't know what it's riding on. You don't
You-
know what the identity is.
Every time I'm looking to place a line bet on the Atlanta Falcons, I just go to
Under?
the next game. I just go to the next game. I don't even bother, man.
That's
You never know
smart.
what you're gonna get. It's like a box of chocolates with Forrest Gump. Like
Yeah,
seriously,
and they're gonna make the playoffs. You know,
it's crazy.
this defense, they're very opportunistic for defense.
Mhm.
They have good opportunities, interceptions. Jesse Bates, this is what he lived on in Cincinnati: interceptions, fumble recovers. Uh, there could be a chance week one matchup they might just like sneak up on somebody and win.
Hmm.
And I'm still going to be like, what is going on here? Because then they're going to have faith in Ritter. Arthur Smith,
Oh God.
I like him as an actual NFL head coach. He's actually winning games. He's
Yeah.
got a good demeanor. You listen to him talk on Pat McAfee show. He's fun to listen to. The issue is he doesn't care about fantasy,
No.
and we get it. I get it. I know.
Yeah, but we're in the fantasy business here. So
yes. And how do you win games? How do you score points? Offense, and you
Defense.
draft these guys in the top 10 is the biggest issue. Nobody has issues with Arthur Smith. The issue is you draft these guys in the top 10 when you have other major issues. And you could have went there. Like if you drafted defense, okay, whatever. But no, you could have kept Jalen Carter in Atlanta. We'd have no issue with Bijan. You'd have Tyler Algier as the main running. We wouldn't complain to you.
no,
But
not at all.
no, like you draft Bijan, okay, he's a top 10 pick. You're going to run this guy all the time. Nope. You got Drake
Eh,
London. You're going to throw him 10 targets. Okay, it's coming a little bit. You drafted Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
What happened? You're giving him 3-4 targets a damn game. That's our issue. So yeah.
Is your rant over yet?
My rant's over. Let's go to
Okay.
Dolphins and Commanders.
Ooh.
Dolphins just
Ran away with the ball. Ran
We
away
all
with
saw
the
this
game.
coming. Achan is back, 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill,
finally.
2 massive touchdowns.
Yeah,
He
I
is-
mean, for the let's before we move on,
Before you
like
say anything,
Achan, his production came in the third quarter
Oh,
when
yeah, when they
Mostert
were
went
ahead.
down on the bench. Like he just sat down. Like, the game was over at halftime.
So Tyreek Hill, if you didn't think he was going to have this game, that's a shame on you.
Mhm.
Everybody saw it coming. But when DK Metcalf broke his speed on Thursday night, my internal feeling was Tyreek is going to break it. He's going to try his hardest to be like, no, there ain't no way this is happening.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how fast he's actually going on his touchdown run because somebody said, like, I remember listening to the broadcast and like, he is flying. And it's like, okay, he's probably giving a little more oomph to his run, trying to beat that speed. That was my first initial thought. You didn't think that? I was like, DK destroyed his speed by.
I
like, a
didn't
mile
hear.
an
I
hour.
didn't hear the commentary on DK beating his speed. And
Yeah, Tyreek's was 21.3 or something like that, and DK's was like 22 point something.
oh yeah, Tyreek's probably
Yeah.
mad. But I mean, when's the last time DK Metcalf did 2+? Like the first touchdown was what, like a 50-60 yard bomb that he just took out of nowhere.
The last time DK ran that fast was when he chased down that safety after an interception, and that safety, I still haven't heard from.
Well, I guess it's
I don't
good.
think- I
It's
don't think
good
he's-
to see like peak DK Metcalf like finally hit his
He
ceiling.
is so fun. If
Like,
if you
finally,
if
you
get
can pick
peak
the game.
DK,
If
if
you
you
can
get-
pick the game,
if you get peak DK for like the rest of his career, like say he has AJ Brown resurgence, where it's like, okay, here's DK, and he starts going off the rest of his career. The NFL needs that because DK is one of the funnest players to watch. Because no human should ever be able to do that at that size.
correct.
All right. Yeah, Waddle had an okay game.
He's gonna be the wide receiver 2 there until Hill's gone.
Yeah, and even then, he's gonna have some definitely boom games, but it's 10 or over, like 10 or more points each week, which is fine. But I still think Waddle's one of the more.
He's now in the wide
Overvalued.
receiver 3 conversation on the year, wide receiver 29 currently. And for Dynasty,
he's a top 12 receiver in Dynasty.
is he still a top 12 receiver?
No, that's the thing.
Nico Collins or Jalen Waddle?
I would have to say. Oh, that's tough. Like,
Yeah.
of course you're gonna get plus, so I'd get Nico plus.
Are you though? Are you going to get plus? I don't
100%.
think you can get plus anymore.
100%.
Nico.
Now the thing I even asked Doug this last week: Drake London or Jalen Waddle. That to me is closer. Drake London's going to get those alpha targets because he's out
Drake
there alone.
London, if you are rebuilding,
Okay. All
because
right,
I don't believe that the quarterback is going to be there.
let's go over to the other side, and you talk about the Commanders because you are one of the bigger fans of Sam Howell that I know. So
He broke
let's
my
talk.
heart today, man. I was really upset. And the fact that
He
Tyrod,
only threw
not
it 23
Tyrod,
times.
yeah,
It was a
uh,
weird game for sure.
yeah, Jacoby Brissett came in for this one, I think, for like a
He did
down or
not.
something like that. I thought he did.
He might have.
Yeah, and he
Maybe they
came in and
called
he handed the
timeout.
ball off. That was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, none of the receivers had
No,
anything, but
Terry McLaurin gave you a goose egg.
well, that you had Ramsey and you have Xavier
It was
Howard,
tough. It was tough sledding
Xavier
out
Howard.
there. Xavier
This
Howard
this
and
defense
Ramsey
is
shut the Washington receivers down today.
this defense is legit. This team will be scary because their defense is definitely coming up to their own for sure. All right, we went over the Panthers and Buccaneers, 49ers and Eagles. Let's talk about this, the rematch. Purdy actually plays the whole game and they win 42-19. Woo.
Yeah, it was closer than that. This game really broke away. They really
Hurts
broke
got
away in the
hurt.
fourth quarter.
Came back though.
Yeah, he took a shot. He went through the concussion protocol, went back to the locker room, and then came back out towards the end of the game. You love to see that. DeAndre Swift, I thought, also got banged up in this one. Couldn't do anything on the ground. It was
I
tough.
think this
Devontae
showed.
Smith, though, wow. Yes.
I think this showed the problem with the Eagles, and it's their secondary. It's been an issue all season. When they went on their Super Bowl run last year, their secondary was locked in.
Yep.
It's not anymore.
Nope.
Bradbury's old. Slay is old. They can't keep up with anybody. It's a problem, and it showed this. Like they can stop the run, even though McCaffrey still is McCaffrey, 17 for 93. But that's McCaffrey. Like McCaffrey can do this on anybody, so I'm not too worried about that. It's just
How about Threebo Samuel?
three bow saying. So once again I started with DK against Doug, 3 touchdowns. He had Debo, so we're even.
Unbelievable. I knew Ayuk was going to have a decent game, but I had no idea Samuel was going to come out there like
the real
that.
question is Purdy. Where in Dynasty are you putting Purdy? Are you ready to put him in the top 12?
Possibly, yeah.
Me too.
If he keeps playing like this, yeah, you have to.
We gave our friend Al a very hard time. I mean, it was Lamar straight up for Purdy. We gave him a very hard time. He believes in Brock Purdy. He likes how he throws, and he likes offense. He gave me all these things why he likes it and why Lamar might not be his favorite cup of tea. Hey, trades are trades. We didn't think it was fair, but it is getting closer and closer and closer by the second.
The only thing that I want to say for Brock Purdy is, yes, I'm totally in the wrong here. I'll eat some crow on this. I did not think he was the answer. I thought it was going to be Trey Lance. I was on that side of the fence. However, going forward, like I'm not looking for Brock Purdy. If you have Brock Purdy right now, you're probably, playoff bound, finals bound.
I'm holding. Like
you're holding, right? But here's the thing. He's going to gain value. We know he is. Quarterbacks always do in the offseason when they do great the season before.
Who are you selling for?
What? No, that's not my question. The question is the longevity of Brock Purdy in this offense with the offensive weapons around them. There's no way that they can afford all these stars.
Yeah, there is.
No,
because Brock Purdy is making $900,000.
If he takes them to an NFC championship again, he better get a new agent and demand more money.
You know what he should demand? $30 million. Get the heck out of the apartment that he's living in with a friend. And he's one of those guys that's an Iowa dude that will legit just be like, well, he's from Arizona, but he lived in Iowa. He's living life right now, and he did not expect this. I would not be shocked if Brock Purdy's one of those guys that takes like $35 million and is like, I'm good.
Yeah, let's build a squad, like keep the squad around me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And honestly, I think Ayuk gets paid now.
He's going to get a lot. He's going to get a lot better contract than Jordan Love got. this year, Brock Purdy.
Oh, 100%. Purdy
Yeah.
Purdy still has, I think, a year or two left. He was the last pick of the draft. I think he gets 3 years,
Yeah,
or
I
is
believe
it?
it's 3 or 2.
Okay. So yeah,
Seventh round. Yeah, it might be 2.
but the thing is Purdy's here. He's I think I think right now the real question should be Trevor Lawrence or Brock Purdy.
It's Trevor Lawrence, dude. Don't do that to me.
Is it? So Michael Lombardi said it best. Now that Brock Purdy has proven it, we can't look at him as that pick. We got to look at
No,
him
yeah,
as
100%. That's over.
we have to
That
look at him
lens
at
was
who
gone.
he is.
Yep.
And who he is a smart quarterback that can make the throws in the offense that fits him so perfectly. And I
Yeah.
mean, everybody's like, "Oh, Brock Purdy!" Like he showed glimpses at Iowa State. Let's not forget that people his junior year said he could be a second round pick in the NFL. Like he had talent. So I know there's some. I remember some Purdy truthers that I talked to that played some college fantasy. That I remember on Twitter were like, "Oh, this guy could be something."
Well, now he is.
Yeah, now he is. Now he for sure is, and good for San Francisco for making the gutsy decision and being like, Trey Lance isn't our guy. I was wrong. I agree,
Yeah.
James. I'm there. I gave up some massive draft capital to go get Trey Lance,
Same.
and that one definitely hurt. But hey, that's dynasty. You,
That's how
you
it
make
goes.
you make some good ones, you make some bad ones, and you learn from the bad ones, and you just hold those good ones real
I
close.
hope Anthony Richardson's a good one.
Yes. All right, let's go to the Browns versus the Rams for our last game. The Rams win 36-19. But let's give old Joe Flacco a little credit.
He looked pretty good out there.
He did. He looked spry. He looked like he hasn't played in forever, which he hasn't.
Arm strength was still there.
The ball strength.
The ball strength of
What
Joe
is a
Flacco.
what is a ball strength? How do you gang ball strength?
I mean, you work your arm, I guess.
All right. I know earlier you said Elijah
Ball
Moore
strength.
isn't it, but if Elijah Moore can just cement himself as a 2 in an offense, I think he can be good. 4 for 83 is a perfect, that's perfect for what he's probably worth right now.
Yeah, but on 12 targets.
Is he just too short?
No, his hands are like cement.
Yeah.
The ball literally, it looks like it's bouncing off a wall every time they throw it to him. And it
Come
doesn't
on,
matter
hot
about the
hands.
quarterback. He has hard hands.
Yeah, that's true. Jerome Ford, I think he is for sure a 1B when Nick Chubb comes back. So
Yeah, they're going to have to go. They'll go committee style, and I think Jerome Ford is solidified as the 1B.
100%. He looks so explosive too.
He got knocked around a little bit today, man.
But the passing game, and he looks so comfortable in the passing game.
He took a shot from Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was like, "Yeah, you ain't going nowhere, cuz."
Yeah. And you already brought up Cedric Tillman. Another player, I know we have some IDP fans. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Notre Dame fan. He's the next big thing. I'm gonna say it.
He was a big thing when he was in college. Didn't he go to Michigan?
He went to Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame. Yeah, I knew it was Navy something.
He rushed the passer. He was a linebacker, a safety, a nickel corner. He played everywhere. He's gonna be that next Troy Polamalu, where the hell is he type player. He's gonna be a fun watch, and he's already coming about a little bit. Going over to the Ram side, Kyren Williams, get used to it because I don't think he's going anywhere for next year. So if you have him, congrats. And the real question was Puka or Cooper?
Puka
Cooper Cup.
Puka.
So Puka, 4 for 105, had a big 70-yard run, but he outran people. Hey, remember when people were like, hey, he ran like a 4.7 40 and always slow? No.
He reminds me of Jordy Nelson so much.
He reminds me of Cooper Cup. A healthy Cooper Cup.
And he's just so happy all the time.
Yeah, and like I said, though,
he's just happy to be there.
Every time he gets hit, I'm like, oh, he always gets up slow.
I wince a little bit. I can't wait to see him when he has a full off season of rest, because he was kind of thrown into it. He was thrown into spring training or summer training, whatever it is, rookie camp. He worked his way up from being not much of anyone to one of their best offensive weapons on the field.
Yeah, he's definitely a fun watch, and in one of my dynasty leagues, we are actually keeping 8 players and throwing everybody in the free agency to kind of refresh the league. It's going to be fun.
You're
And
holding Nakua, right?
100%.
Okay,
He
good.
is. I think he's. I don't know if he's a top 12 dynasty receiver, but he is for sure top 15, top 18. Like that. That's the range he's at. People that were buying for like way high price.
I got him off of waivers in August, dude.
Yeah. And if honestly, he's one of those guys that if you got him for free, you're keeping him.
Hell
Enjoy
yeah.
it. Enjoy the points for 7, 8 years, as long as he stays healthy, which has been his biggest issue, and which is the issue every time I see him get tackled. But hey, it was an interesting week for sure.
Yeah.
It was.
It was a lot more interesting than you led on to at the top of the show, obviously.
Yes, I think a lot of the good teams are on bye week though, and next week we have Arizona. Who
It's
else
tough
is
to
on
talk
bye?
about football when your home team is just like stinky.
That's
Like
true.
the
I mean,
Giants game today, like there was no
what about
Giants game
mine?
this week, so it was great.
What about my team?
I
My
mean, your
team's
team
stinky and they're winning.
was winning and they're stinky, so it's a tough situation even more so.
Yeah, and another little news. It sounds like Joshua Dobbs will be the starter coming out of the bye week.
Ooh,
Smart
that's important.
because he's an actually good quarterback, the best quarterback they have. Don't give the ball to Nick Mullins because it's going to be a Jets situation. As
Oh,
much
God.
as much as we want to get Zach Wilson trouble,
They don't have the strong run game to give it to Nick Mullins.
it sounds like the fact that we all wanted Zach Wilson gone. Keeping him in might have been the right choice. Like I think we just need to put our fists in mouth and just be quiet and let our coaches coach because nobody is on that team is better than Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson ain't good. So that's a lot to say.
They should. I'm so glad they got rid of Mike White. He did well today when they let Tua sit on the bench.
Man, the Jets. That fan base has got to be just empty because you go from, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, he's actually coming. Our team is good. Oh my God, we got Zach Wilson. Maybe he's better. Oh my God, he's not better. He might be worse. Oh my God, it's Tim Boyle. Oh
No,
my
it's not.
God.
It's Trevor Simeon.
Like
You
think
can't write the horror story that lives on New York Jets football this season.
You legit sink in a sinkhole, and you're like, okay, this hole can't get any deeper, and then it gets deeper, and they're like, there's concrete. There's no way this hole can get, and then the concrete evaporates.
Poof.
then you're just gone. You're in the core of the earth. Yeah, that is definitely the Jets season as a whole. But hey, at least you have an identity, and it's not a good one. Atlanta doesn't have an identity.
At least Aaron Rodgers is cementing his stay for the next season. So that is reassuring with Garrett Wilson.
I don't care what anybody says. He's coming back.
Oh yeah, he's going to be
He's-
back before the end of the season.
He's making it like he's gonna be like, look at me, I did it.
I hope, and I'm going to play Garrett Wilson in that game that he comes back.
Because he's
Just-
gonna get a ton of short passes.
He's going to get
That's
a
all
ton of
it's gonna
short
be.
passes, and they're all going to be great short passes.
Yep. And my guess is what, week 15, 16?
16, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, he's definitely coming back. But you know what? Doug is also coming back next week, and we will see him again, and myself and James for hopefully a more giving week for the scoring department. We had a lot of big people go off like Buka and Debo and DK.
Tyreek.
Hopefully the wealth spreads a little more for our before the playoffs matchups because I know I got a couple big ones that I need to win to make the playoffs. I've solidified the playoffs in a couple leagues, and I know, James, you have in the comic book, so congratulations on your first full year. You have made the playoffs.
I made the playoffs?
I'm pretty sure you won this week, so yes.
Oh, yeah. I stomped the last place guy this week, I think.
All right, but hey, this is what the leagues are all about. It's so fun to be in a bunch of leagues and Dynasty. This is what makes Dynasty so fun because not only are you looking for the playoffs, you're also looking at your team next year.
I think
And
it was
then
my
you're following.
my second orphan that actually did well. The comic book.
Yeah, and you definitely turn that around quickly. But once again, we will see you guys next week for a little more fun, and we got another game coming for you. I didn't do it this week because I wanted Doug in it. So,
Yeah.
Until next week, see ya.
Later.